Thanks, Bhavyangana. So, guys, today we have Anushka Doshi. She's my senior from 2022 batch. She recently got placed with a Super Dream offer in JP Morgan Chase and Co. And here we have her. So, the before we get into the actually technical stuff and we just go on with DSA and all that things,
Mm-hmm.
I would like you to tell about your experience at VIT, from the first year, second year. What was it like? Because
Okay.
over here, the
Apart from the
audience,
academics or
yeah,
including that?
no, apart from the academics, because
Okay.
everyone here hasn't been to college. Like these are second year students, all
Yeah, I
online
can
stuff.
understand.
So,
Okay. Okay, so these juniors are the ones which I have never met. Okay, fine, cool. So guys, I'm Anushka Doshi, and yeah, I was from the batch. I'm from the batch of 2018. So talking about my first year, like you all, I have also been in the online mode for the third and fourth year. But I was fortunate enough to get those 2 years of my life in actually on the campus and experiencing the offline mode. So talking about my first year, I was a shy kid, uh, like at that time, and it was my first time I was actually going out of my state and leaving behind my parents in Pune. I'm from Maharashtra, so leaving behind my parents and my family. It was my first time that I was going in whole new different state. So, but
mhm.
being in VIT, it taught me a lot of things. Like apart from the academics, academics is the best part of VIT. But apart from that, I got the real life experience. In first year, I was more of a shy kid, and in second year, it happened. I'm a dancer, by the way. So in
Oh,
second year, it happened that
that's so great. Like,
yeah. So in second year, it happened that I was the student coordinator of the VIT Bhopal Dance Club, and from there, actually, my journey became like I took the leadership over there. I organized various workshops over there. I actually guided my juniors, like your seniors, for their dance and Advitya Fest. We have Advitya Fest in VIT Bhopal, so I was the cultural head of that fest. So apart from that, and yeah, obviously the hostel life is best life in your life, and I have experienced the most out of it for that for those 2 years. So I would suggest you, when you get a chance to actually go over there and experience what it is to be a VITN, and actually go and just like bunk those classes or do masti with your friends, or like anything which we all do in our college life, right? So I would suggest, like, you should study, obviously, but keep in mind that you have these 4 years, which are gonna be your best 4 years of your life, and so you make most out of it. You make friends for lifetime, and you experience what it is to be a VIT. So that's all from my side.
that's so great. So, like, you were the coordinator of dance club.
Yeah,
Then you. Yeah, that's actually great. Like not doing being good at the academic part, and then also dancing and stuff, and all the social part also. Because yeah, that's that's
exactly.
that's quite good to hear. You know. So now coming to a little bit more technical question.
Mhm.
The How was your coding skills when you entered VIT? Like in the first year.
Okay, in the first year. So let me tell you guys that in 12th I opted for CS. Like we have options of geography and all those subjects. I opted for CS, but as you all know that that CS and what actually we require in the industry is like it has many differences, and it is a whole lot different type of thing which we actually do in 12th and which we actually do over here in engineering. So I was from CS background, but I didn't know anything about decoding, or let's say any language. So first year it happened so that I actually build up my logical problem solving skills or logic building skills, and not the DS part. Not at all the DS part. I focused only on languages, learning different languages, getting those OOPS concepts. Okay, and building those basic school level logic building part. So uh, what I remember is I used to solve hacker rank questions, basic level, basic or easy level, not even medium. And yeah, that was my part in first year. And yeah, in first year what you can do is you can actually build up your mathematical skills, because when you actually proceed to fourth year, you get to know that different graph algorithms or different problems which you would be solving in the coding rounds of the companies uh, has actually the base of discrete mathematics. You all are from second year, right? So I guess you have been taught discrete mathematics or differential calculus, right? I guess so.
Uh,
So
Discrete, I guess. Yep, they've
yeah,
covered.
yeah. So you would have gone through the topics of Kruskal algorithm or Prim's algorithm. So these are not only related to your academics or your GPA part, but these are important for your placements as well. So if you actually get those basics cleared right now, you won't struggle actually getting those logic in the fourth year or the third year when you go for coding rounds. So I would suggest that you actually do those stuff and get those basics clear, even of the differential calculus right now, so that in third year you can actually focus on the data structures part and the other subjects like you have DBMS, computer networks, and other parts. So I would suggest as of now, you all are in second year, so go for medium level questions on HackerRank, on CoreShip, on Hacker Earth, and even LeetCode. LeetCode is a good coding platform to be on. And yeah, when you get those subjects, like you are in second year, so I guess in the next semester you would get the subjects of DBMS, computer networks, and operating system. So don't take those lightly, even though you have we know how online sems go, right? So even though like you would get good marks, but please concentrate on those subjects. Take those classes seriously, because I actually learned this hard way, because I didn't pay attention on these subjects when I was in second year. I was more
Mhm.
into the cultural part. So I had to actually devote my extra time of coding to these subjects for interview preparation, right? So I would suggest, I would highly recommend, don't take these classes lightly. Take this seriously. If you clear all this now, you would actually enhance your coding skills much better in the later stage of your engineering.
So, like, first year goes to just plain solving questions on
Yeah,
HackerRank.
yeah,
Then second year we should focus on the operating system, DBMS and stuff,
yeah.
and the computer networks, all that part.
Mhm.
These people will get to know now. And what about the third year? Like, I'm from the third year. Tell me also something.
Okay, so now I guess you would be going through various PAT trainings, and like there would be face various vendors, and you would have Examly portal where you have to opt for different exams and give those tests. Don't again, don't take those tests lightly. Give it your 100%. And because you are in third year, you have to practice, like you have to focus more on projects also. So I would recommend, what you could do is, uh, obviously you cannot leave coding like that. Like if you give it a gap of, let's say, 3 or 4 days, you have to again start it from the scratch, or that would be difficult to link that your
Yeah.
DS part to again
Mhm.
after 3 4 days. So don't leave that part. Do at least 2 to 3 coding questions regularly. These could be of data structures, or these could be of normal problem solving skills. But do those 2 or 3 questions, medium to hard level, and yeah, devote 1 or 2 hours to your DBMS or the subjective parts like the OOPS
Mhm.
concepts, the DBMS, OS, and CN, and focus on your projects. Like you would get epics projects for third year. That would be your you can actually do one good project in that time, like you also have grade for that, and you can actually put those projects in your resume. So take those seriously, and in your resume there should be at least 3 projects which
All right.
covers the domain you wanna be in. Like it could be of web development, it could be of data science, but make sure the job profile you're applying to for internship or for a placement, covers those type of projects, at least
Hmm.
three, and it should be on your GitHub profile as well. So they can actually go and check out that, like, yeah, you have done something which is really helpful, or which, like, they would get a confirmation that you have done it. So do those things, and don't leave coding. Don't leave coding. Focus on your data structures as of now. And actually, I would suggest you all to check out the YouTube channel of Love Babbar, sir. So
Yep.
I guess you would be knowing that you guys are smart. uh, Check out those. It has 450 questions of DSA. It is a cheat sheet of DSA. I have actually solved all the 450 question, and after solving those, I was quite confident of cracking any coding round, almost any coding round, in my placement. So now also I am going for Amazon and other FANG companies, and I'm quite confident because of those, because of that cheat sheet. So guys, after you like do your problem solving part and the basic DSA like arrays and matrix, go for this cheat sheet. And for actually learning those concepts of data structures, I would highly recommend you GFG. It is the best site to go over there and make your basics clear, and then go head on to this cheat sheet, and you can actually solve those questions and get to know what it is actually in the coding rounds of various interviews.
All right. So now, like इसी से एक related question I have. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when we get into the second year, everyone is telling us about, do DSA, do competitive programming. And then
Mm-hmm.
there is also a set of whole people, they'll be telling us, develop your web development or, ML or something. So, like, what did you do, or what should we do? Like, should we focus on the DSA part in the second year, or should we go on with web development, ML, or something like that?
Okay, so see, what you can do is, for now, like those who are in third semester currently, you can focus on ML. You can do various courses of NASCOM. There are very free IBM. There are very free courses available. You can do those, and you will get a basic idea of what data science is, of what ML is, and if you are actually interested in that. And after doing this, like, you would get a basic knowledge, or you can do a basic project on that. And after doing that, you can actually head on to data structures in the fourth semester. But make sure that while heading to data structures on in fourth semester, you are clear with your problem solving skills. You're clear with your basic data structures like arrays and matrix, and then you head on to data structures, the advanced data structures like trees and graphs. But still, I would say, don't leave coding in third semester also. You have to keep practicing the basic problems and the basic problem skills, solving skills, so that you can actually get benefit of the data structures, and you won't struggle much in the coming semesters. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, one more thing, I before I forget. See, when I was in first year, I did a certification course on ethical hacking. Actually, I wasn't sure if I'm more into gaming, more into cybersecurity, or more into AIML. So, in first year vacations, I did a certification course of basic certification course of ethical hacking. Then, in second year, I tried with AIML and gaming. And then I came to know in third year, after coming to third year and after going through all this, I came to know that actually I am a data science person and I want to become a data scientist. So I would suggest, I would highly recommend that you guys get your hands dirty with all the possible things, all the possible domains you can go on with. Okay. So you won't be confused. Like, I see many of my friends who didn't try all this, they just had fun. I am not saying that you shouldn't have fun, you should have, but make sure that you utilize your vacations, you utilize this period of time when you are doing online classes, because we know how online classes goes. So you utilize this period of time and get to know what domain is meant for you, so you won't struggle in the future. Because many of my friends are like struggling, what should we do, our data, like they literally say in Hindi that मेरा तो कुछ नहीं होना, data structures भी मेरा खराब है, मैंने projects भी नहीं किए, मुझे पता भी नहीं है कि मैं कौन से domain के लिए. So this shouldn't be the case with you. Try your hands, get your hands dirty with every possible domain you think you would be interested in. because it happens that in initial phase of my engineering, I was like, no, I will go in cybersecurity and all those stuff. So I tried my hands, and I actually got to know, no, this is not the domain for me, and I got to know that I am for the AI and ML purpose.
Yeah.
So get your hands dirty with all the domains.
Yeah, that is what actually happens. I've like I've tried to go into this open source and stuff like that, and then I
Hmm.
actually I was like, no, this is so creeped out. It's not for me. It's like like so.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the now this is kind of off topic, but I'd like to cover it up.
Okay.
Something about the resume. What are
Uh,
your tips
okay.
and tricks?
Okay. So we would be talking with respect to second year or third year.
Both anything you want to like just generic things that you'd like to cover,
Hmm.
maybe.
Okay. So what? See, guys, now because we have everything online, and so there won't be any physical rounds as such, or wherein you will submit your resume physically, like the printouts. So what would happen is they would ask to upload your resume, and they won't be going through your resume like how a person goes through the resumes. Okay, so there would be ATS. So there is something called as ATS compatibility, in which the actually AI/ML comes into picture here, and it scans over through your resumes, and it basically gives your resume a score out of 100, and on that you are shortlisted for the actual first round of the coding itself, like the coding round. So see what happened with me. My resume was not ATS compatible, and I wasn't aware of this fact. So in the companies which I applied initially, I wasn't even shortlisted, and then I came to know that there is something known as ATS compatibility. And when I dig deep down into that topic, I actually got to know that your resume should be very like it should be in the word for like it should be very plain. There shouldn't be any colors or any columns, more columns, or headings in stylish fonts or something like that. It should be plain. It should contain bullet points. The more numbers you include, the more adjectives you include, like leadership, or let's say you organize many workshops or something like that, or the certifications name, the more score you get in your resumes. Okay, so that is one point. And the other point is, in this you have to include this is the ATS compatibility part. And the other point which I would like you all to go through is, when you actually submit your resume uh, to the person or to the HR, is you should include your internship experience, you should include your projects, at least three, which I mentioned previously. And make sure you are active on LinkedIn, make sure you are active on GitHub. You have your GitHub repos, and you have your deployments over there in on GitHub pages. And yeah, that's it. And being freshers, you don't need any references or any such part of kind, but just make sure that your objective is crisp and clear, and your resume is not more than 2 pages, being a fresher.
Hmm. You talked about LinkedIn. GitHub, we know we can upload projects and stuff
Hmm.
like that. What about LinkedIn? What do you think? Like, should we go ahead on with it like from the second year itself, and or can we build it later or something like
See, I actually came on LinkedIn in my third year. Okay, so I don't think so. LinkedIn is at all necessary in your second year, unless and until you are doing extraordinary stuff or projects of that kind. What I did was, I came to LinkedIn in third year when I was actually doing an internship, and I started uploading various projects, my resume, and various other things which I had already accomplished in my previous 2 years. So you can pretty much do those stuff after you come to third year and start your internship. uh, so what happens, by that time you have your ratings on various coding platforms like the Hacker Rank and all those stuff. So you can put over there. And yeah, I forgot to mention, in your resume you can also give out your achievements, like you were the club coordinator or the various workshop which you arranged, your leadership qualities basically. And the hackathons, yeah, the hackathons are very essential part, and you should take part in all the hackathons you get through VIT or by your own. It actually gives you an idea of what it is to actually build a solution, because what we do in our projects is not scalable, but what you do in hackathon is actually you're not building the actual solution, but you're building somewhat the basic prototype, and you get to know what it is to actually build those. And there also you get to know if this field or if this work is actually meant for me. So hackathons are very essential part, regardless of you win, not win, but the experience you take and the learnings you take are very necessary, and those learnings would keep on rising exponentially, and that would surely help you in your interviews. So do take part in that. And as far as LinkedIn is concerned, LinkedIn you can do in third year, and keep on uploading your projects and stuffs like the certifications you go through from third year itself. So that would be good enough.
All right. Dee, you talked about hackathons. Like, should we like? Is it necessary that we, like, just go on with them, or should we like, like, should we just start with them from the beginning itself, or should we just, brush up our concepts well enough, then participate, or is it like, you know,
The hackathons would be coming, like you would be getting mails like you have to register before this and this, and the competition is before this and this date. So I don't think so. Being in third year, you would be able to actually go through these concepts and everything hackathon. It's not possible, and the problem statement which you get is like you cannot predict like what the problem statement would be if it is time based, and if the problem statement would be released later. So I would say don't go on revising stuff or doing unnecessary things just for the sake of hackathon and ruining your schedule. Don't do that. Just go ahead, do that hackathon. Like I remember for even JP Morgan hackathon, the Code for Good, through which I got selected. I didn't revise any DBMS part or any APIs part for that matter. I didn't. I didn't even read. What I did, we had a team, because it is a team in hackathon. You can distribute the stuff, Google stuff. Obviously, you all are developers and we Google things, and then we like it is said that we are master in Googling. So it is true. We do those stuff, and then we actually connect those part logically and give them a prototype or solution. So don't go on revising things or that, because it won't come handy to you, and I don't think so. It's necessary at all.
all right, got this, just that it's not a major thing, but you should still participate in it so that
Yeah.
you get the experience, right?
Yeah, you should participate in every hackathon you get, or every opportunity that VIT Bhopal presents you.
All right. Now they coming to the DSA part, the like the golden part of
Okay.
the tech career.
Mhm.
When did you actually start getting onto DSA and competitive programming? Let's leave out competitive programming apart, but what about DSA? When did you start it?
See, DSA I started in my initial phase of third year, like let's say last May or June,
Mm-hmm.
May ending, let's say last June. And I started off with, because I said in first and second year, I did my all my problem solving and basic mathematics clear. It wasn't really tough for me to get advanced DSA part. So I started off with revising my arrays and matrix. Make sure that you go through arrays. See, arrays is not all about like you get programs in college like add all the numbers or do multiplication of all the numbers. Those are not the kind of problems that companies would ask you, right? There are many things in arrays itself. Like if you go through that cheat sheet, you will get around 50 to 55 problems only on arrays.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate arrays at all. Like it's a linear data structures, इसमें क्या है, इतना तो कुछ है ही नहीं. Don't underestimate that. Go through each and every, like there is something known as time complexity and space complexity. You have to take care of that also. It's not like that you go on applying brute force or naive approach all the time. It won't work for good companies. So you have to keep in mind how do I improve the time complexity? How do I reduce the time complexity? How do I reduce the space complexity? And when you take a problem, when you start, see, it would be like when you start the DSA, you would do around two problems maximum, two problems a day. Don't get demotivated by that. See, DSA is not easy, and as you go on practicing every day, don't give up. As you go on practicing every day, your learning curve will be exponential. So it happened like from June I started till August I was doing arrays, matrix, and the linear data structures like linked list. So it was like I was doing maximum 3 to 4 problems daily. In the month of June, it was maximum 2 problems. So don't get demotivated at all. Like how can I do, and ये तो मेरे लिए बना ही नहीं है, DSA होगा ही नहीं. This is not the kind of thing you should conscious. Okay, you would do it. Just have patience, trust the process. As you get on practicing the DSA part, as you get on practicing those questions in that cheat sheet, you would actually come to know that you have, when you covered arrays, मान लो कि you have done already 50% of the DSA. Trust me on that. When you master arrays and matrix, you have already mastered linked list and trees. Trust me on that. When you get your brain cleared with how do I approach a problem, how do I think of a problem when it comes to me, you have already solved the trees and linked list part. I am telling you, like सिर्फ एक थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा. You have to understand कि how should I actually design that data structure of tree and all those stuff. But then that won't be a problem at all. You can learn those stuff in one day itself. Okay, so give yourself time, do arrays, do matrix. It would take time, I'm repeating again, it would take time, but don't get discouraged. एक बार आपने वो कर लिया, आपको वो आ गया, आपको समझ आ गया कि कैसे अप्रोच करना है प्रॉब्लम को, फिर trees, graphs, and a linked list are just easy stuff for you guys. Okay, and as you go on doing that cheat sheet, you would come to know what should I do, what should I not do. So trust the process. And DSA is not easy. It would approximately take you 5 to 6 months to cover whole DSA. And there are other algorithms parts. There are other mathematical part which you need to do. But don't do it now. Do it when actually companies come to you. Like in this period of time when you actually go to fourth year, and from July the placement season starts. So do that part like bit manipulation, like mathematical theory part and other stuff in that period of time. And when you are in third year, your training will start, and you will actually go through the aptitude and the verbals part. Don't take that lightly. Do aptitude and verbals in classes itself, so you can devote your time to coding.
All right. The You talked about the aptitude part and the verbal. Well, I mean, I get it. You were in from the second year itself. You were into leading the clubs and stuff like that. So you might be having a very good communicational skill set from the beginning itself. From like first year, second year itself, you were having like quite good social skills and everything. Did you see someone around in your branch that struggled with all those skills, and how did that affect them? If you had someone in,
Like the leadership skills, or the one who was introverted, like that.
mm-hmm, yep.
Okay. So, guys, I was introverted myself. I didn't speak apart from my roommates to anyone in the college for the first year. I obviously met friends who accepted me as I am, as I was introverted. But I would tell you, when you actually go to college, you would come to know if your communication skills are weak, you won't survive over there. Like it's impossible for you to survive over there. So I know many of you would be shy. You haven't even seen the college or got in-person experience with your friends. But when you go, it would be a kind of anxiety, or you would get tension. Like how should I react? How should I actually interact with people? I'm introverted. I'm shy. I don't know. Like people chill out in UBs, like the underbelly. We have a underbelly canteen over there where people chill out after all their classes, and I was the kind of person that I don't want to go over there and stuff. But there is something magical in VIT Bhopal which turns every introverted child into an extrovert. I would guarantee if you are introvert, you would get extroverted by the end of the year you reach the campus, because you would get there like you have proctors, you have faculties, you have friends, and you have to interact with each one of them on the daily basis. So uh, there isn't any example of I can give apart from myself, because I myself was introverted, but I have seen that change of me getting an extrovert personality and actually leading a club. So only one line I would say: you won't survive there if you don't have communication skills. And see, coming to the communication skills in the interview, what's important is your communication skills. Obviously, you have tackled all the coding rounds and all the tech rounds. Now what's remaining, they already know that you are good fit for the for their company in coding and the tech related parts. Now they want you to actually expose yourself, what is your personality, what are you, in their HR rounds and interviews. So guys, what is important is your confidence. Just believe in yourself. Like, you would feel like, I am not a person driven, but in VIT you have to do that. Just be confident. Even for the interviews, I would suggest just be confident. Even if you don't know the answer, or it's not possible, right? We know all the answers, or things like that. Just be confident. Give answer confidently. Like, I don't know this answer, but I would try to search for it, or I would try to get to know, get a knowledge of this subject, and just go on with that question. Just be confident. In your second year also, if you get the chance to get into VIT on campus, then I would say just be you get various opportunities like DAC, student club, and all those things. Just go there. If you are a dancer, just approach the faculty which is in charge of the dance club. Just go there, just say that you can interview me, you can make me a student coordinator, or you can give me any responsibility. Just do that. Just explore the campus. Just go for it. It never matters if what would be the outcome, or what would be the result of that. Just go for it, and you would be surprised. Like, I remember when I went for the interview of the dance club, I wasn't even confident. I was like, no, this is not me, I won't do this stuff, I'm introverted. But then it so happened that I went, I gave the interview, and after that I just turned out to be extrovert. So don't be shy, just go and go ahead with confidence.
That is such a good line. I just turned out to be an extrovert. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, the coming to the JP Morgan part. So,
Hmm.
tell us, how did it start? Like, when did you apply? What was the whole process? Tell us something
Sure.
about.
So it all started in February. Guys, I would be honest over here. I was rejected by a whole lot of companies till then. I was in third year, and what companies offered us was internship, obviously. So there was DShaw, there was Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft story was what happened in Microsoft was they selected 10 students from third year, and I was one of them from VIT Bhopal campus. So Sriram sir, he is the best placement officer you could get. So he arranged like special training sessions for us so that we could actually crack those interviews. But what happened was, you cannot predict what companies wants, right? They told us that we want these 10 kids to give our coding round, and just a day before the exam, like, we had a whole week of training sessions. We also missed our cats for that purpose. And just a day before told us that we don't want these all these 10 kids for the first round itself. We only want these 3 kids. And unfortunately, I wasn't there in those 3 kids. Okay. So that was my very first rejection in last August. I still remember the date, 10th August, and that was my first ever rejection which I got even before attempting the coding test. So see, guys, the rejections, they would come. Then I got rejected by Dishaw. There were many companies. I can't even remember their names. But for the JP Morgan part, but guys, remember always this part: the the number of rejections you face, it's a guarantee that you would crack a good interview, a good company. You would get into good company very soon. Okay. So coming to JP Morgan, it all started in Feb. They like it was on campus. They had come in with the opportunity of the third years with the internship, and the fourth years with the full time opportunity with the hackathon. So I applied over there. There was a coding round, which was medium good. I would say it was not tough, but it was medium good, slightly good. It was all based on DSA. It was based on trees and graphs. And then what they told us was that there were 11,000 people sitting for the coding test of the selected colleges, 50 colleges, I guess. And they only selected 640 out of that. Then we also had an interview. It was not a one-on-one interview. It was like you have to record yourself for 2 minutes. You get a question, you get 2 minutes, and then you have to record yourself for 2 minutes, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to submit that. So they also judged on that, and then after that we were selected for the final hackathon. So what happened in hackathon, which happened in June last month? What happened in hackathon was that it was a 24-hour hackathon. We were presented with the problem statements given by NGOs, different NGOs, good NGOs, and we had to actually come up with the solution, a whole technical solution for them in 24 hours. And then there would be two judging rounds. In first round, uh, like per NGO, there were 10 teams, and they selected three teams from the first round. And then there was a winner in the second round. So, and before the hackathons, we also had like it was a 5 day event, and the actual hackathon was only for 1 day. So for the rest 4 days, we had various webinars, various workshops happening over there, and we also got to interact with JPMC technologists, and it was great. Like their culture is just great. You don't call anyone over there sir or ma'am. You address them with their first name, and their culture is just great. Like there is no leg pulling, or there is no politics over there, and it's just great. It's awesome. It's like you are interacting with your friends. And we had mentors, two mentors. We were on camera for 24 hours, like almost 24 hours. We had to actually, there were breakout rooms in Zoom meeting itself, and we had to like there was a front end team, there was a back end team, and there was an integration team and stuff. And there were breakout rooms in that particular Zoom meeting. There were two mentors. The one was vice president of a department from JP Morgan Mumbai campus, and the other was associate, like the senior engineer, software engineer from Hyderabad campus. So these people were really very senior to us, and it was really friendly. Like I didn't even thought of that these are not my friends. Like I was interacting with them as if they are my friends, and they kept on observing us, like how our technical skills are, how if we are a team player. Like see, communication plays a really good part over here, and if you don't have communication skills, you won't be able to survive in any of the companies. So it so happened that out of 7 members, they selected three, and we got the results on 14th of July, and I was the one who was selected from my team.
That's so great, Dee. I mean, again, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
So these were like kind of all the doubts I had, all the questions I had.
Mhm,
But we are not gonna leave you now. We also have the audience who have their questions.
mhm.
So, but before we come on to their questions, there's a little ad kind of thing that we do in our webinars nowadays.
Okay.
So it's our upcoming startup. It's named as Kabelu Factory.
Mhm.
I hope it's visible. So Kabelu Factory is all
Yeah.
about a community that we are trying to build. It's a paid community, a student growth oriented community that is, technically it's kind of focused on the non-tech part. The everything that is apart from the academics, maybe resume review sessions, mentor sessions, then mock interviews, profile building, that is LinkedIn, Twitter, and all that Medium stuff, then confidence build up, networking sessions, then again, the domains and everything, the life skills, the negotiation, manipulation, influencing, all those skills. Then again, the soft skill development. Then there will be some peer help sessions and, fun events and stuff like that. So you guys could just check it out if you are interested in that. The next cohort for Kabilo Factory will start from, the next month. So you can just enroll yourself in the wait list for now. So Yep, that is something apart from Code Academy. So yes, now I would like you all to ask any questions that you have to Anushka Di. You could either type them down in the chat box, or you could just raise your hand and we'll unmute you.
Yes, guys, and please feel free to ask any questions related to VIT or academics or placements you have, and I would be more than happy to answer those queries.
Also, Bhavyangana, can you start? Can you stop the recording?
Yes, yes, sure.
And guys, I would really appreciate if you turn on your camera because it would be more interactive.
Yep, guys, can we just can we turn on? Hi, Akhil. Hi, Bhavyangana.
Hello Via, hello Di.
Hi, Ishika.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, guys. So you could just ask any questions that you have. Siddhartha is asking,
Yes,
when
guys,
did
just unmute yourself and ask. Go ahead with that.
Siddhartha asked, when did you started DSA? I
Okay, so
guess.
actual DSA, I have answered this, but I would again repeat that. Actual DSA, I started last June, let's say June. That is in my third year. And by that time, I mean, the DSA, I wasn't complete beginner for coding part. I had already completed my basic problem solving. So I was confident with solving basic to easy level questions on HackerRank and Coursera. And after that, I actually started with my DSA for placements.
All right. Do we have any other questions, guys? We have like 11 minutes for any questions that you have. So,
I have one question. You talked about the projects, like, we should have minimum 3 projects for our resume as well.
Yeah.
So, what kind of or what level of projects they should be?
See, first of all, you decide your domain, in which domain you want to go, and because it's necessary that your projects relate to the job description of that particular company. When you select a particular domain, then see, it shouldn't be of basic level or the projects which you accomplish in your first year. It should include APIs. It should include DBMS concepts. It should include OS concepts in that basic level. I'm not saying that you have to build a whole solution for that. Basic prototype in which you can actually show the recruiters that yeah, I have the basic understanding of DBMS and I have also implemented it. So that kind of projects. I must say that you must include APIs. You should know the integration of the APIs because see what happens is many companies nowadays they just don't take coding tests. They also take like the Udan, which I gave test yesterday. It came for 45 LPA, and they didn't ask for our coding part in the initial round. They gave us APIs to integrate and actually build APIs to from scratch and then integrate it. So you should be clear with those topics as well, not just DSA. And if you
Yeah,
do that in projects, then it's a good thing, like you already have the experience and it won't be difficult for you to accomplish
yes, yes, got it.
that.
Ansh, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Adi, I want to ask, like, how did you manage DSA with development part, like AI, ML, like you taught,
Okay,
like, yeah,
so what happens, because you are in second year, I
yeah,
guess. Yeah.
second,
So what happens, you can for now focus on your development part, like the web development or AI/ML. You can go for pre-certification courses. You can gain a basic knowledge of that and develop a basic project. And while you are doing that, make sure you are going through the basic problem solving skills, the basic and easy level questions on various coding platforms. And as in when you go to the next semester, then you can actually start your actual DSA like trees and other stuff. So by that time, what happens is you have the basic knowledge of data science or the AI/ML, and you won't struggle much with the AI/ML that time because you already have the knowledge. And at that time, what you can do is you can accomplish various projects like the advanced level projects with this. So you can devote your 4 to 5 hours of day for DSA, and then you can go ahead with your development part. but make sure that all the projects or all the things which you develop, like the 3 projects you develop are finished before your let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, before your 5th semester,
Mm.
so that you can actually go ahead with aptitude, verbals, and other things, and your interview preparation after that. So
Okay.
make sure you develop projects and go ahead with that.
Okay. No, good. Thank you.
All right. Someone Lokesh asked, how much were you? Pavana, can we stop the recording?
Wait, I stopped it. I don't know. Wait, just a second.
Because these
Still on.
questions kind of get tricky sometimes, and
Bhavana, it's still on. The recording
Yeah,
is still
no,
on.
I'm trying. I don't know why it's. I'll try again. Wait.
like, do we have another question?